In this video, I'm building this trailer for my lawn tractor, and yes, it is perfectly safe. I want a trailer for my lawn tractor, and I've already kind of jigged it up something like this. I found this rectangular thing already welded up. These are wheels from an old lawn tractor, and now I just have to build the rest of it using some bed frame angle irons that I picked out of the garbage. These all have bits riveted onto them like this, so I just have to grind those off. This video is sponsored by Evolution Power Tools. They sent me this saw for free. The back axle is supposed to mount like this, and that'll really put my lack of welding skills to the test. There are, of course, welding magnet squares, but I haven't seen a need for one of those yet. It's now a week later, and I've decided to optimize my workspace a little bit. I changed the where the chop saw is on here, and I was messing around with extension cords too much. So I added an extension cord with 6 plugs right here, and I also added another socket here, so that should give me plenty of power where I need it. And I also got some sawhorses out, because working on the ground is not ideal. You shouldn't wear short sleeves while welding, but it was just too darn hot. Aside from a bit of painful splatter, I also got a little bit of sunburn on the inside of my left elbow, which is a bit odd. But I think what was happening is my right arm, I was wearing a glove on that, and it was also shielded by the torch. But the left elbow got a lot. I also got a little bit of sunburn right here, but that's gone now. What you don't see in people's first time welding videos is a close-up of the welds, but let me show you. So here's some of my initial welding joints, and they look totally awful, but for this part here, it doesn't really matter that much because it just pushes together, so even if the weld were to fail, it's not going to pop apart. But eventually I switched to 35 thou wire instead of 30 thou wire. Maybe it was a different kind of wire. But after that, I was able to get some welds that actually, to me, look pretty decent. Now I'm going to make a box to go on top of here, and on a whim, I decided to angle the sides of it outwards a little bit, like this, in both directions. This means I need a compound miter on here, which the chop saw doesn't do, but I can get that compound miter just by clamping the angle iron in at a 45-degree angle. I'm totally loving how clean this saw cuts. Now comes the challenge of how to jig this up at an angle while I weld it. So I made a wooden jig, of course. I think that should work. the way most of the corners for this top are, there's actually 4 corners that need to bend for one of them to bend, except for these corners here, and I don't have that much faith in my welding, so I'm going to add these gussets in here. Now I need to attach the hitch to the tongue of this trailer, and I was thinking about how to attach it, and then I decided, why don't I just butt weld it straight on? I just need to jig it up somehow. I wasn't sure if the plating on the hitch would release dangerous fumes, so I always held my breath for every weld. The axle I'm using is just a piece of electrical conduit, so I'm whittling down a piece of wood and whacking that into the ends to give it a little bit of extra stiffness. Now I need to mount the hitch ball on here, but it won't fit in this hole, but it also needs to be about this height. So I want to make something out of 3 pieces of steel like this, and that will have a hole for this shaft that I can pull back and forth. But the problem is, this is a 5/8 inch shaft, and I just don't have a drill that's big enough to drill in there. So I'll cut that hole with my plasma cutter and my plasma cutting pantograph. This hitch turns out to be quite a puzzle to install, especially because I had to add a little hook on the bottom to keep it from tilting upwards if I have negative tongue weight. To get it on, first I have to slide the rod to the left, hook it on the right, then slide it to the right, lower it on the left, and then slide it to the middle and put the cotter pins back on. And right after that, I used it to help me pick some apples.